Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear students, welcome back to the online lecture series of Hera English School of Standard 10th for the subject of Science 2. So students, today we are going to start with new chapter, that is chapter number 6, Animal Classification. We are going to understand this chapter on the points like history of animal classification, new method system of animal classification, and then kingdom Animalia. So this chapter will be discussing about how classification of animals can be done, as we had learned about classification of plants in 9th standard. So let us start with, so this part, can you recall, is being eliminated. Now as you can see, the line mentions, you have studied the classification of living organism in earlier classes. The living organism present around us are mainly plants and animals. We have studied the criteria of their classification. With the help of that, let us complete the following chart. So if you remember, this kind of chart we had already discussed in 9th standard, so I will help you. Living organisms are classified into two major groups of organism, the one which is called as prokaryotic, the other one which is called as eukaryotic. Okay, so prokaryotic organisms are one which have prokaryotic cells, that is primitive cell or underdeveloped cell. Eukaryotic organisms are those which have eukaryotic cells, means true cells. Further, eukaryotic organisms are divided as unicellular organisms, multicellular organism, the one which is made up of single cell called unicellular, the one which are made up of multiple cells, those are called multicellular organism. Unicellular organism further fall in the kingdom Protista. Okay, and then multicellular organism is further divided as those one which have cell with cell wall, and the other one which have cell with without cell wall. So the one which have cell with cell wall further divided as autotrophs, heterotrophs. So autotrophs, the one which can prepare their own food, and they come under kingdom Plantae. The heterotrophs, the one which cannot prepare their own food, they are dependent on other, so they fall under the kingdom Fungi. And if those multicellular organisms which have multiple cells, but their cells have no cell wall, those fall under the kingdom Animalia, which we are going to understand in this chapter. So this is how classification of living organisms can be done. Moving ahead, so we have studied the plant classification in last year, and it helps us to understand diversity of plants around us. You must be looking varieties of animals around you. Some animals are too small, whereas some are too big. Some animals are terrestrial, that means living on land, whereas some are aquatic, living in water. Some animals crawl on land, some swim in water, whereas some fly in air. So these are different places where the animal lives. These are habitat. Some animals have scales on skin, whereas some have feathers on hair. So in this way, there is huge diversity among the animals too. And according to recent studies, estimated number of animal species on earth is approximately 7 millions. So these are different species which are estimated to be present on our earth, 7 millions. And it is impossible to study each and every species. However, if groups and subgroups of animals are formed, depending upon the similarities and differences, it will make it very easy to study such vast variety of animals. So in order to understand such large, big variety of animals, if groups are made, subgroups of animals are made, and those groups can be made on the basis of similarities and differences, then it will be very easy for us to understand such large variety of animals. So what is classification? This is very important for you. Formation of groups and subgroups of animals depending upon similarities and differences among the animals is called as animal classification. If question come, what is animal classification? This is what you're supposed to write. So groups and subgroups are made. Okay, on what basis? On the basis of similarity they have, on the basis of differences they have. So this is what animal classification is. Now this part, history of animal classification, again is removed from your syllabus. So you need to do this. Yeah, now this is important. What are the benefits of animal classification? See one by one. Study of animals become convenient. It become easy for us to understand animals, their features. Study of few animals from a group help us to understand about the entire animal group. If you study some of the animal of that particular group, you will come to know about the all animals which fall under that group. It gives us idea about animal evolution, means how animals are evolved from the earlier one. Animals can be easily identified with great accuracy. We can exactly determine, we can exactly identify with animal classification. It helps us to understand the relationship of animals with other living organisms, means how animals interact with different living organisms. Classification helps us to understand. It helps us to understand the habitat of each animal and its exact role in the nature. By learning animal classification, we come to know about how animals are living in different places. Okay, some are living in water, some are living on land, some are living on the air. So these are different habitat. Okay, and what are their exact role in nature? It helps us to understand various adaptation shown by animals. Adaptation is changes or the adjustment, what they do when living in the nature. They adapt themselves, the body adapt themselves for that particular area. So these are the benefits of animal classification. So I hope you got this part. Inshallah next time we'll discuss further topic of the chapter. By the time read this part. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.